Greetings, learners. My name is Mr. Simbi and welcome to today's accounting class. In today's class, we're talking wages journal. We're going to be preparing the wages journal and we're going to see how to get net wages. Let us look at the question that we have before us. It reads, Tools and All have a working week of 40 hours. So this is a company, Tools and All. And they have a working week of 40 hours. Workers who work more than 40 hours a week are paid at an overtime rate of 1.5 times the basic rate. The basic rate for all workers is 40 Rand per hour. And we have the following employees. We have Blunt, Sharp, and File. So you can see Blunt has already gone beyond the normal hours by 2 and File by 8 hours, but Sharp is within the range. Then we have deductions for the week, which is pay as you earn, pension fund, medical aid, we have UIF, and then we also have trade union. We will now prepare the wages journal. In this activity, they have already done information for B Blunt and S Sharp, so we are only going to focus on F File. It says F File has worked 48 hours. But in our normal time, we need only 40. So I'm going to bring my 40 hours here. Then the remaining 8 hours, I bring it to my overtime. Here's my 8 hours. Then they told us that they have a 40-hour working week. Workers who work more than 40 hours are paid in overtime rate, which is 1.5 times more than the basic rate. The basic rate is 40 Rand. So that means I'll come here and I'll say he's getting 40 Rand, which is basic. So it now becomes 40 Rand times the 40 hours. I get 1,600. That is my normal time for F File. I would then come to the overtime. Remember the overtime? He has worked 8 hours overtime. Some of you ask, Mr. Simbi, how did you get the 8 hours? I simply said 48 minus the normal hours, which is 40. 48 minus 40, that is how I got the 8 hours. The rate, remember, the normal rate is 40 Rands. 40 Rands multiplied by 1.5. 1.5, that is going to give you 60 Rands. That means I will come here. My rate here becomes 60. How then do I get the amount here? I will now say 60 Rands, which is the rate, multiplied by the 8 hours. Please punch that in your calculator. How much do you get? I'm saying 60 multiplied by 8, you will get 480. 480. You will then get gross wage. How do you get gross wage? It is your basic, 1,600, plus your overtime, 480. That will give you how much? Let's say it again, 1,600, punch that in your calculator. 1,600, your basic, plus your overtime, which is 480. It will give you 2,080. 2,080. We now need to focus on our deductions. Let's see what deductions do we have. Pay as you earn. It says pay as you earn is 15% of the gross. How much is my gross? My gross is 2,080 and I need 15% of that. Please punch that in your calculator. 2,080 is your gross wage multiplied by 15%. 2,080 multiplied by 15%, that gives you pay as you earn. How much do you get on your calculator? All right, 312. 312. The next one becomes pension fund. It says, an amount equal to 5% of the gross wage is deducted weekly from the wages for the pension fund. An amount equal to 5%. That means I have to get 5% of the gross wages. My gross wage is 2,080 multiplied by 5%. That will give me the pension fund deduction. Please punch that. 2080 multiplied by 5%. How much do you get? 104. 104. It then goes on to say, Tools and All, this is the name of the company, contributes 1.50 Rand for each 1 Rand contributed by the employees. That means from the 104, the company is going to contribute 1.50 Rand for every 1 Rand. So I'll say 104 times 1.5 when I am now doing my contributions. Keep that in mind when I do my contributions. Medical aid. Membership is compulsory. Married members pay 60 per week and unmarried members pay 35 per week. The firm contributes to the medical aid on a rand-for-rand basis. F file is married. So Mr. File is married, therefore his medical aid is going to be 60 Rand because he is married. The next one, UIF. A compulsory deduction of 1% of gross wage is payable by each employee, and Tools and All pay the same amount rather. So I'll take 1% of the gross wage. How much is my gross wage? 2,080. I multiply by 1%, and we round off to the nearest rand. Round off to the nearest rand. So eventually, when I round it off, I'll get 21 rands after I've rounded it up. UIF, 21 rands. Number 5, trade union. It is compulsory for each employee to belong to the two workers' union, and 15 Rand is deducted each week. 15 Rand. After you have recorded your trade union deduction, which is 15 Rand, now you need to add all your deductions. So make sure you have your calculator and you're ready. Let's start punching. We're going to add our pay as you earn, which is 312 rands, plus pension fund 104 rands, plus medical aid 60 rands, plus UIF 21 rands, and lastly, the union 15 rands. Then the total is going to give you an amount, which is, how much you get on the calculator? 512. All right? When you get this total then, you can get your net wage. How do you get net wage? You say your gross, which is 2,080, your gross 2,080, minus your total deductions, 512. And your total amount should be 1,568. 1,568. That gives you net wage. Gives you a net wage. We'll now move on because we still have to do the contributions. The first part of the contributions have to do with pension fund. And they say that Tools and All contributes 150 for every rand that is contributed by the employee. So if you remember, the employee had contributed on the deduction on pension fund 104. Remember, we spoke about it, 104. And the company is now going to contribute 1.50 Rand for every 1 Rand contributed. So I'll say 104 multiplied by 1.50 Rand. How much do you get on your calculator? If say 104, this was the deduction. I multiply by 1.50 Rand because the company is going to contribute 1.50 Rand for every 1 Rand that is contributed by the employees. How much do you get over here? 156. So I'll come down here and then I get 156. That becomes the pension fund. Let's go to medical aid. Membership is compulsory and members pay 60 Rand. Remember, we spoke about this, that F file is married, so he was paying 60. And then the firm contributes to the medical aid on a rand for rand basis. So he paid 60 as a deduction. The company is also going to pay 60 as a contribution. Then the next one is UIF. 1%, which is compulsory. 1% compulsory deduction, and this is 1% of the gross. If you still remember, the UIF, we calculated and we got 21 rands. So we're 21 rands, which was the deduction of 21 rands. Now we are being told that this company is going also to contribute at the same amount. They will pay the same amount. That means it's 21 multiplied by 1. It's the same amount. Okay? That will be 21. So I'll come here, UIF becomes 21. This, therefore, is how we're going to record our contributions. I want to show you how the question looks when it's all completed. Here's how the question looks. This is your normal time and your overtime, which gives us the gross over here. Then you subtract your deductions. After subtracting deductions, you get your net wage. Remember, you also have contributions, which is your pension fund, medical aid, as well as your UIF. Dear learners, we will go for an ad break, and I'll see you shortly.